Hey there and welcome back to Cliffside for another casted game. And you're going to see a familiar face at the top of the screen who we're going to be introducing in a second. But first of all, on the south side of the cliffs, we have Droeldia in orange as the Rus, going for the classic hunting cabin opening to get those scouts out to get the hunt. And if we go on to the north side of the cliffs, in blue we have Brother Shoes as Order of the Dragon, and not getting those sheep there. Maybe he's going to be going for that second scout. He has already got that one out. So if you remember from one of my previous videos, Brother Shoes has sent us a game before, and this is part of his quest this season to hit diamond with random. So random to diamond, random civilizations, no map bounds, and full chaos. So this one is going to be a really interesting matchup because going for the double scout as Order of the Dragon actually is even more painful than other civilizations because you already start with less villagers. They are stronger, but they also take longer to produce, so you're delaying those extra villagers even more. So at the beginning that can be really painful. So if we go to Shoes side first of all, let's have a look at his scouts to see if he's managed to find any of that hunt. So he's going around there gathering the sheep, and his other scout is going around the base also getting sheep. So we're just going to see if we take a look with our God vision to see where the hunt is. So this one, but there hasn't been denied. This one has already been taken out, and over here no hunt taken. So at the moment there's still the 2x2 markets to go, but we can see an orange dot coming across the minimap here. So I think he's probably going to catch this deer pack here before Shoes manages to get there because he's a little bit behind. So I think, and the other one over here. So this means I think that the Rus player is going to be able to get all of this hunt, which means that Bunty is definitely not going to be 80 like Marine Lord. So this, I think, potentially could mean that the start is going to be a little more difficult for Shoes in this position. So hopefully he got his front deer pack there, but definitely if you're going for the double scouts, you need to go straight to those markets, because on this map there's always a deer pack that spawns next to each market, and there's always two around your base. In this case, they've actually both spawned front by the sacred site, so whoever got those probably got both. But if we pop out, we can probably, I think we have to go here. We're going to have to do something a little bit cheeky. We can have a look, and so he's got 300 bounties, so he's already tier 2, which gives his villagers that 10% gather rate, and his hunting cabins get that 25% extra. So this is going to be a really strong start for the Rus player, who's already going up with the Kremlin. So if we take a little look at the positioning, there we go. So we can already see what his game plan is. He's got the Kremlin, which is blocking the gold and the stone, which is a really nice position, and there's already a mining tank queued up for when the Kremlin drops. So we're going to be seeing 2 TC Rus. So let's see how Shoes decides to counter this, because if we take a look at his side, he's got 3 on gold, and we'll swap over to villagers. Apologies, I didn't do that earlier. I was too busy trying to figure out what all of the scouts running around were doing. And we'll see what he's playing it. So we're just about to start aging up to the feudal age now, and you can see the delay on this. It's 340, and it's only just going to come in for Shoes now. And with that extra micro on the scouts, it's taking a little bit longer, so you can see the split there. We're already ready to go. So we've got the mine work, so I would imagine we're going to be seeing some feudal aggression here from Shoes. In this position, if he were going for the fast castle, I imagine you'd be dropping an Archon here in the back, because you'd get your sheep, you'd get both of your wood lines, and you get your gold. So because we see the mine work going up, then I imagine we're going to be trying to see a bit of feudal pressure, which is really good because the mine work does give you that golden cuirass special upgrade, which reduces the damage taken by men-at-arms when they reach a specific level of health by, I think it's 20 or 30%. It changed in the recent patch, but basically it just makes your men-at-arms extremely tanky, and they are already tanky. So we see the barracks going down, and so I think we're going to be seeing some men-at-arms coming through. Still 3 on gold, and I think this is going to work really nicely because it's going to mean that Shoes is going to be able to get his upgrades. So maybe we might be seeing a mill dropped on the berries so that he can get those in the bank and get wheelbarrow and stuff like that. Or he's going to be banking all of this gold ready for his military techs. But the one thing I would say with Order of the Dragon, because they have the increased carry capacity, and they gather 28% faster, if I remember correctly. All of the ecotechs actually are even more effective than other civilizations. So as Order of the Dragon, you want to be getting those ecotechs as quickly as you possibly can, because so actually going for spears, interestingly enough. I expected men-at-arms first, but we'll see. So spear coming in and out of queue, in and out. So I'm sure it must be to do with having the wood for the house. So, but because all of the ecotechs do give you a bit of buff because they work on your base rate. So if something gives you an extra 10%, then if you already have 1.28, then you obviously get more. And you know, maths, don't try and question my maths at this stage. If it's wrong, then you're welcome. So we can see Shoes now moving over to stone, so it looks like he's trying to match the TC. So I think this is one of the strategies you can go for. We can also see a stables come down for let's call him Dea. It's maybe a little easier to pronounce. So Dea has got stables and got a couple of feudal early knights coming out to try and do some pressure, which I think is really good, because if you can damage the villagers of Order of the Dragon, then you're going to be in a really sweet spot, because they have less and they are worth way more. So we've almost got enough resources to get that TC going. If we have a look at the map, we're going to see where he might be able to put it. He might put it on this gold and these berries, because he's put the Kremlin actually on an open gold. So if we take a look, this is not actually his first one. His first one is actually here. So and because as the Rus you don't have to mine gold if you get enough bounty, he hasn't even put a mining camp on that yet. So I would imagine we'd see the TC going up here, but maybe he'll be... Go on, are we going to see it dropped? Am I a psychic? Let's see. Come on, where are you putting it? I think he's got enough resources, but he's still going. So he's not going to go on the boar, surely. Won't be here. That's very aggressive. But they're going very far out, so okay, wow, okay, so this is actually a very, very aggressive position. So Shoes is also going to be dropping his in a second. He's definitely not going to be going for this front deer. I imagine he'd be going on the gold and the wood, probably over here, I imagine, to block those resources. But this is a very, very exposed position, because it's not within Kremlin range, it's not within TC range. You'd normally imagine it be a little bit tighter, and then if Order of the Dragon gets all those units out, you're able to defend it more easily. Also because Order of the Dragon gets increased torch damage, so if we take a look, and oh no, the knight's gonna get a kill. Yeah, one villager down, so that's really not a great start. But if you see these guys, the torch damage they get is 21. So, and if we have a look at the knights, their torch damage is 13. It doesn't sound like a lot, but when you've got a load of men-at-arms knocking on your second TC, that can be really dangerous. So at the moment, we don't see any of the military techs coming through for Shoes, so this minework is sitting there waiting for some action. We do actually have the arrow defense, so it looks like he might be going out for a bit of a push, but we do have the first mining and the lumber double broadaxe in, so we're waiting just for wheelbarrow and horticulture, and then we've got the full eco set. We can also see that now Dea's going for his horticulture, so that's going to be giving his economy just a nice little boost. But this is a really good position actually for the Order of the Dragon, because their villagers take a little bit longer to produce, but they are more valuable. So maintaining the same level actually is going to work really well in Shoes' favour here. So we can see another barracks drop down, so I imagine we're going to be seeing a bit more pressure, and there's that golden cuirass. So yeah, when you fall below 30% health, they take 20% less damage, and that doesn't sound like a lot potentially. Oh no, a bit of a surround here, another knight's going to be caught. Ooh, one knight taken down, really nicely done then. So the knights did really well to basically kite the spears, pull them out here. So one thing that you can do is if you put them on the edge here, and you can put them on rally or breakdancing or whatever they're doing here, you can actually put them on hold ground, stand ground, and they will actually stand there, and the knights won't actually be able to pull them away. So that's always a nice little trick you can do. But these knights still circling, there's two here, they might be able to poke and get that scout, and you see there the scout ran out to them. So this is something that you can also do when you're the aggressor, is if there are units sitting there and they're not on stand ground, you can actually pull them out of the safe range and do some damage. So now if we look at this, we can see that he's out Daya's out on this deer, so his food eco is going absolutely insane. And we can see from the resources, it looks like he's going castle, so Shoes is going to have to respond in kind, and I think with 9 on gold as Order of the Dragon, I think we're going to be seeing a castle age from him as well. So he should be able to catch up, but he is going to be a little bit further behind. So I think it'll be interesting to see which landmark the Rus player goes for here. So if we take a look now, the Kremlin, there we go. So they're on this gold over here, and basically these two are protected by the TC. So potentially I might have gone for this one that's a bit more exposed, gone for the exposed resources, and then if Shoes were to push in, then you've got this one that's safe under the Kremlin for later, because I guess then you can save them for the future. But, you know, no gold for a rainy day in this case. If that TC is taken down, then these ones are going to be really hard to defend. So actually, this spawn potentially could work really well in Shoes' favour, because if you look at the spawn here, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 front golds for him. Obviously this is a shared one at the front, but for Shoes he's got actually 2 at the back and 1 in the corner, and there's 1 over here. So actually not as many close to his base. Actually the Rus player has a ton right around his base, but that's a little you know, a little different. So if we have a look at the high trade house, that's a really nice spot there. So it obviously gets buffed up with the gold per minute based on the wood. So those are the biggest wood lines. So I think that's the most logical place to get it. We can see wheelbarrow going in for Shoes, and now it's just knights and spears circling around trying to... Oh no, but the spears are chasing the scout. There we go, nice. So all of these villagers going out very aggressively. And if we take a little look at the hunting cabins, can we see... Yeah, so we already have survival techniques. No wheelbarrow yet for Daya, but that does mean that the gather rate on these deer is going to be really good. So these spears... There we go. So look at the damage they can do to those knights. But he's going to have to be really careful to make sure that he gets those techs. And I really like the gilded archers coming in now for Shoes, because in the castle age, which we're going to be seeing in a minute when the Regnitz goes up, that's defended by all of these TCs, literally super snug. The archers actually get this special tech, which is scale armor, which gives them 3 ranged armor in the castle age, which makes them incredibly tanky. So they can basically run under the TC, and they actually will survive for a really long time. So them, along with knights and along with men at arms, you don't really have to worry about especially a second TC as much. So you can actually do quite a bit of damage. So going for a bit of an infantry comp here, and so we can see a couple of villagers going to be caught out there, and also the gilded archers have a much higher attack speed, so they can do an incredible amount of damage. But look at the damage there on these knights. Those knights just melting to the spears, and look at their uniforms. I still can't recognise all of the units with the Order of the Dragon just because the skins are so different, but look how amazing they look. If we spin round, we can see those uniforms there. So rather than admiring the design work here, we can see that Daya's going for some front walls here to protect the front of this base, because cliffside is notorious for all of these little openings. So a couple of short walls like this can actually mean it forces the fight in a better direction. And here is definitely a better direction because you have the Kremlin, which would then be a good place to go under. So both players in Castle Age now. We can see a warrior monk in queue for Daya, but we already see 2 prelates out for Shoes. So if we take a look from his perspective using my little hotkey, there we go. We've got 2 relics in queue, so this one we want to be running back as soon as possible. And oh no, there we go. Okay. I've done this literally a million times. You go out on the deer and either you forget to place the mill or you shift click it wrong, and then they end up running from the middle of Timbuktu all the way back to your TCs. So now 2 relics in queue, and this is going to be a really good position for the eco of Shoes, because relics with the Regnitz give you that additional buff, so they're going to be getting all of that gold income. So now hopefully he's going to be able to go out and grab a couple more, but if you get 3 as the HRE or as the Order of the Dragon, you're in a really sweet spot. We can see here that Daya's out on the boar, so these units circling around, if they've seen them, they're going to be able to really get a nice little pinch on that eco. And if you look, there's only 6 villager difference, and these villagers are like 20 to 30% better. So actually at the moment I would say economically this is really in Shu's favour. And look at that, these low health villagers definitely going to be having a really tough time. Look at the melting here, and doing a really good job with that archer of target firing those low villagers there, so being able to do a huge amount of damage. And they're going to jump in, but half of those went down, and I think that's going to be a really nice pickup, because now equal numbers, that's a very dangerous space. We can see literally every single type of unit you could possibly have from Order of the Dragon coming in. We've got spears, we've got men-at-arms, we've got knights, we've got Landsknecht, horsemen, and an archer. So a few of each. Maybe just, if you don't know which comp to go for, just go for a bit of everything, and taking down the hunting cabin there to reduce some of that gold income. I think in that position there probably is, you know, 1 gold a minute with maybe that 1 tree, but always good to do. And now he's doing, Shoes is looking around for some damage, I think circling around to find those food sources, because he knows the deer at the front and over here, so a couple of units, and look at these Landsknecht gonna go in and do some real damage there. Look at that, boom, oh wow, okay. Now that is incredible. That is not what you want to be seeing as Dea, but as Shoes, that's exactly what you want to see. We can see textiles going in, and again, also because the gilded villagers, the dragon villagers, have that increased health at 98, they also, or they have the base health, then they get even more from textiles as well. So there's a load of farms here that aren't being done, so I am think Shoes has pulled those villagers off to go somewhere else, and we can see one knight here tanking up all of these ones. So there we go. So this is where gets really dangerous. That Kremlin's probably going to be able to take out this guy, but we should see, and that's it. GG. I think the damage to the eco there from Shoes, picking up those relics, and these dangerous guys knocking at your front door was enough for Dea to call it a day. So some fantastic work from Shoes there, and one step closer to his diamond dreams. And here we are back just before GG was called, as this final fight on the frontier was taking place. So watching these gilded guys go to work on the Rus Knights. But let's pause it now just before GG was called so we can take a look at the final state of play. So looking at Dea, if we take a look at his base, we can see actually here he was out on the deer, but unfortunately got caught out by a Landsknecht and one of those hardened gilded spears, and unfortunately they all went down pretty sharpish. He was also moving out onto these berries, but this small contingent also put a stop to that. They managed to escape, but that has pulled him off all of the food eco. So at this point in the game, I think not having secured all of the food eco, or done any walls to stop any of those raids, has just meant that all of this stuff is really exposed. So I think obviously capitalized really well by Shoes there, but this I think is not a great position, and you can see a farm transition going up, which is actually just about to get caught out by these units as well. So I think in this position, although you have the Kremlin defensively, I think as soon as you got to castle, this wall at the front was brilliant, and it really stopped just sliding straight into the base and getting rid of this TC that was trying to maintain that villager, those villager numbers. I think a couple of short walls, for example, one just across here, which would also secure the gold, because the gold counts as a wall, and then also literally just one little short one here, one little short one there. That would basically secure the whole west side of the base. And if we go over here, what we could have seen is maybe again just a little short wall across the stone, and then let's say let's see where we can be a slightly less aggressive. So because he's already on the deer, you'd want to secure that. So you could probably have gone a couple of short walls around here, or literally straight across to the gold to secure that, and then one in this little ravine, this little crevasse down there. So literally just straight across, and you'd secure this section of the map. Although you lose the boar, you'd still get the deer on this side, and then you'd also get some berries here and berries there. There's also a relic in the back which hasn't been picked up because they were both contesting these front ones. This one had been picked up but was taken out by Shoes, and is just about to be picked up by this prelate. So there was one in the bag, but now it's 3 for Shoes. This one hasn't been picked up yet but is quite exposed, so that one would have also gone over to Shoes, I believe, because it's a little bit difficult to defend. It's only, I think, if he was really sneaky he could have got that one. But so I think in this case, I think actually the setup with the Kremlin is really good. as I mentioned earlier, this one's only got 1,000 left, so if the game had gone on any longer, then you'd need to move out on more exposed resources, whereas if you'd gone for maybe this one, or even started with this one and pulled back, then you'd have those more secure resources. But the lack of walls here just meant that those gilded units could come in, because the majority of them are infantry, so they're not particularly quick, and there aren't many of them. The numbers, although the population here looks quite high, the numbers are actually quite small, so if you can prevent them actually getting in your base and you can get the mass of your units into the correct position, then you're in a really good spot. But obviously 6 knights against 10 spears, these 10 spears are basically worth double, so that's like 20 spears against 6 knights. So the mass here needed to be much bigger as well, because against Order of the Dragon you really have to outnumber them and hard counter. So if you see spears, you have to have archers. If you see men-at-arms, you have to have crossbows. If you see Landsknecht, you just have to hope for the best and run away. And the Gilded Knights, again, you have to have spears. So there's only a couple of these units, but they're being able to do a huge amount of damage, and these 3 units here are being able to basically take out the whole of Dea's army. But if we head over to Shu's side, we can see that he's got 2 relics in the bag here. He's also gone for this. He's also got this sacred site as well, which I think he got while he was picking up a relic. Oh, excuse me, just a little sneeze there. And so that works pretty well. I would have said you probably wanted to be getting out another prelate to go and get the other relics, and also as the Order of the Dragon you want to be healing up your units as much as possible. We can see a load of unmanned farms here, so obviously that's not ideal. We want to make sure we're using those, but having them around the TC is really nice, and this is actually something that I think I try to do in most of my games, is not put buildings directly next to the TC, because you get all of those safe farm positions like that. I do think the mine work now is starting to pay off with some of these researchers coming in, and there's also the special Landsknecht one that if we go over to this guy, you can see that there's a special bleed damage which doesn't actually seem to show up on the UI, but once you get hit you take a certain amount of bleed damage over time, so that's really, really nice. Matching the double TC I think worked really well, so both players basically followed each other. Rus went for 2 TC, so did Order of the Dragon. Rus went Castle, so did Order of the Dragon, and then Order of the Dragon was just able to get those relics and mass up just slightly more quickly. And if we look at the eco now, you know, it's over double the food, not so much wood, but even more gold. So, and because food and gold is really what you need to spend a lot of as Order of the Dragon, the eco here is really good. We can also see a lot of stone, so I think we were either going to be seeing some keeps or stone walls and stuff like that, because Order of the Dragon gets those cheaper emplacements. You don't need 850 to get a springald emplacement, that is for sure. But yeah, I think this worked out really well for Shoes, and I think matching that eco from Rus really meant that he was able to mass up those gilded units and do some incredible damage. But I hope you've enjoyed this post-match replay. I hope you enjoyed the game, and let's all support Shoes in his journey to random to diamond before Season 7 ends.